Alright, let's talk about roundabouts. Had a few people, I've had conversations with a few people recently about roundabouts, as well as one or two comments. So, roundabouts, New Zealand is awash with roundabouts. Like this country is absolutely jammed full of roundabouts, and it annoys me. It annoys me knowing how few people actually understand how to indicate on roundabouts. But that's okay, because NZTA, the governing body for our roading and licensing in this country, have, in their infinite wisdom, not really gone out of their way to educate people how to indicate correctly on roundabouts, but they've also, I don't know if it's NZTA or more a local council thing, but so many roundabouts, urban roundabouts in cities now, or like on the edge of cities and industrial areas, so to speak, so many of them now are built up with usually vegetation, so you'll have a bunch of plants and bushes and stuff, and the whole concept of a roundabout is, rather than having traffic lights control the flow of traffic, so you stop, start, the whole point of a roundabout is for perpetual flow. You know, there's gaps in the traffic, and those gaps work together, mesh together without restricting the traffic flow. That's the idea anyway. So the idea is, especially when you're in a big truck, I'm not fully loaded currently, but I've got some timber on, I've got a bit of weight, truck's 20 ton on its own, and you know, a bit of timber on, so you don't really want to stop. So the idea is, you come up to approach the roundabout, you can see what's coming, you try and time it right with a gap. You hope the guy on the motorbike in front, scooter goes. We did have to pretty much stop there, but you get the idea. And try and get through without coming to a complete stop. The idea is that traffic sort of flows without needing to have periods where a whole block of traffic is stopped waiting like a traffic light. That's the concept. And like I say, it's really hard with a lot of these roundabouts with the vegetation on them, because in the truck you're trying to see something's coming, you're trying to look for that gap and time it so you don't have to stop. Whereas if you can't see any of the traffic that's coming through the roundabout because it's got these pretty bushes, well, I admit they may look great. And I don't know whether it's a beautification thing, like, hey, this roundabout looks ugly, let's plant some trees on it, make it look pretty, or if it's let's slow down the traffic from people speeding through roundabouts by making sure people can't see what's coming to the last second, which is, in theory, both of them make sense. But like I say, the whole point of a roundabout is you're supposed to be able to see traffic entering from a distance, time your gap, and go through without having to come to a stop. So counterintuitive in my opinion, but especially for trucks. Like I say, with trucks you really want to be able to see what's coming around, because for us, you know, we'll be about to go, take a gap, and then a car will come flying around the roundabout, often not indicating correctly, which we'll get to that. And you're going to slam on your brakes and you're going to wait, because people, you know, if you go, people are going to abuse you, bloody truck drivers, can't drive for shit. And so you stop, and then you're waiting for a gap, and you can only see like a little tiny piece of roundabout because there's all these trees and bushes on it. So you can only see a little bit, so you think, okay, there's a gap, you start moving, another car comes flying around, and you stop. And I've had this happen on some busy roundabouts several times, to the point where your nose, especially a bonnet truck like this, even if it's a little bonnet, your nose is actually sticking out into a lane, so that at some point you've just got to go, and then you get abused because of bloody truck drivers, So like I say, it'd be a lot easier for us if these roundabouts weren't built up with all this vegetation, because you'd be able to see what's coming and pick up gaps a lot easier. But the other thing is educating on people how to indicate on roundabouts. And I don't know where exactly this started from, but at some point someone decided that you're supposed to indicate onto a roundabout, and there's a really deep, dark, distant memory that maybe that potentially was a law many years ago. You had your right hand indicator on to enter the roundabout, left hand indicator to exit the roundabout. For those of you watching on the other side of the world, say America or Canada, obviously we're opposite here. We drive on the left, sit on the right, so everything's flipped over. But that's not the rule at all. And so if you're entering a basic four-way roundabout, think of it as like a give way or a traffic light. If you're coming into a four-way, just a basic, like a cross pattern, and you're going straight ahead, you wouldn't indicate left, but you wouldn't indicate right, because you're not going either of those ways, you just go straight. And in my opinion, I think a basic four-way roundabout, you shouldn't even have to indicate to exit, because if the intersection is clear, without all your trees and bushes, and people can see you approaching, you shouldn't need to indicate off the roundabout, because they should know, well, he's not indicating, he's clearly going straight. I mean, that's in a perfect world where your drivers are aware of all of the traffic, they're watching the traffic that's approaching them, and they're aware of the surroundings. Of course, that's not necessarily the case with New Zealand drivers, and I find it's getting worse and worse. These days, people just don't, they're not aware. They say, oh, where's this truck going? I don't know. They only just saw him at the last second. But technically, the legal way you're supposed to do it here in New Zealand is you are supposed to enter the roundabout, and once you get to the exit before the one you're aiming on taking, you put your left-hand indicator on to tell the people at the next exit that you're turning off. That's the rule. So all of these people who are entering a four-way roundabout to go straight ahead and putting their right-hand indicator on, and then some of them will put their left-hand, some of them will indicate off correctly, but they're not indicating on. Like, I mean, they're not entering the roundabout like they're supposed to. You're not supposed to indicate onto a roundabout. You're not supposed to have your right-hand indicator on if your flow of traffic. And if you're not sure, sometimes roundabouts aren't a perfect cross. Sometimes one of the exits might be on a slight kink. But if the arrow in the lane that you're supposed, this is the other thing, all the roundabouts, if it's two lanes, there'll be an arrow. Usually the left lane will be straight ahead and left turning traffic, and the right lane will be straight ahead and right turning traffic. They vary, obviously. Sometimes it's one lane will be only for left turning or only straight ahead, whatever. And so you get in the correct lane, also important, not everyone does it. And if you're going straight, don't put your indicator on. If the road you're on, think of it like this. If there's a cross like this, even if the cross is slightly bent, if the road you're on is still the road you're on, you're going through the roundabout, but you're staying on the same road, you're going in the same direction, you don't indicate. You don't need to indicate right, just indicate left to go off. You know, there are a lot more complicated roundabouts. You know, the Panmure roundabout, which is gone now, I believe, used to screw a lot of people up, because I think it had 5 or 6 exits and 2 or 3 lanes, and it was very complicated. A lot of people couldn't work it out, which is I think why they've done away with it now. But I mean, with proper driver training and proper education, it's not that hard. Then some of those roundabouts, those old school complicated roundabouts like Panmure, you would actually have to change lanes on your way around the roundabout depending on which exit you were taking, which would just blow people's minds these days. I don't think many people could handle that. But as you see, I'm turning right to go up the Kaimai Ranges. Very busy roundabout, this one. As you see, massive garden in the middle, so you can't see what's coming around it. This is probably one of, if not the most difficult roundabout, I reckon, in New Zealand to negotiate, just because of the heavy traffic flow. Since they built up this Tauriko area, it's both housing and industrial. A lot of traffic now. It is also the back road to Rotorua, so a lot of traffic comes out of here. Obviously you've got traffic coming down, if you know the area, you've got traffic coming down from the Kaimais, coming from out of town, coming from Bethlehem, heading towards Tauranga, towards town, towards Welcome Bay, towards the Mount, towards south. It is an extremely busy intersection. Obviously most of the trucks coming in and out of Port of Tauranga come this way. So, and people get confused. I've seen a lot of trucks in this left-hand lane, because trucks just think, well, I need to be in the left to go up the hill, because it's a 2-lane pass, sort of a passing lane going up the hill here. Truckies will say, oh, I'll go in the left lane because I don't want to be in the right lane, because I don't want to be in cars, But the left lane is not for turning right. I've had trucks turn across in front of me when I've actually been going straight, because when I was working for Brett Marsh, our yard was out here, it still is. So I'd get in this right hand lane to go straight, because the next roundabout I'm turning right to go to the yard. But I've had trucks turn across in front of me. They're turning right in a lane that's clearly not marked for a right turn, and I've had some near misses actually with that. So make sure you're in the correct lane first and foremost. And obviously, like I say, I'm turning right, so I'm indicating right. Pretty straightforward, you'd think. And it's something I noticed long time ago. More and more I noticed more and more truckies indicating right to enter a roundabout. And it's really caught on, and I think a lot of people who are confused and don't understand how to indicate on roundabouts, they look to truckies. And I've seen truckies, I've seen you know, police, emergency services, professional drivers like bus drivers, courier drivers. So many people get it wrong, so many truckies get it wrong, and I don't understand. See, this roundabout now, they've made it so the lane actually merges you across to the left automatically, which is quite handy. It's quite clever, that. It's changed a few times, I think, over the years, I believe, but indicate left to exit. It's not hard, and I've noticed it's caught on more and more, and I think a lot of people are looking to truckies or police officers to understand, right, well, I don't know how to indicate on a roundabout, or what does he do? Oh, this guy's a professional truck driver, he indicates. And I've asked truckies, why'd you put your right hand indicator on to go straight ahead? Oh, I don't know. I just thought that's what you do. It's like you're a professional truck driver. You've got a regular car license, and on top of that, you've got extra licenses to be able to drive a big truck. How, in all of that process, have you not managed to understand a basic road rule like indicating on a roundabout? It's all there in the road code. So I don't understand why so many people get it wrong. I had one guy tell me once, oh, I put my right hand indicator on so the traffic to my left as I'm entering the roundabout knows that I'm not turning left. And I'm like, isn't that what a left-hand indicator is for? You know, since when did we have to indicate right to tell people we're not turning left? I mean, that, if you're turning right, you indicate right. If you're turning left, you indicate left. If you're going straight, neither. I mean, is that not straightforward? I don't understand why that is not. It just goes without saying to me that that's how it should be. So, but it's definitely something that's become more prevalent. I've noticed it more and more and more, and like I say, so many professional truck drivers, they're just like, oh, I don't know, I just see other guys do it, so I do it. Again, so many cops do it, and cops are out here policing the roads, many of them. They're supposed to know how to indicate. It's a basic road rule. If you look it up, I'll see if I can, I'm still getting better at the editing on the GoPro vids, but on the YouTube vids, but I'll see if I can try and edit in some screenshots here somewhere of the actual NZTA website where it tells you how to indicate on roundabouts. It's all there. It's all there. Anyone who has a license to drive in this country should have covered this. But for some reason, people don't know how to do it. And I've driven in Paris and London, very, very busy cities, very complex roundabouts, multiple lanes, multiple exits. And I mean, Paris was absolutely mental. People in Paris, there was like, I think we were at one point we were on a roundabout, it's about 5 lanes wide, many exits around the centre of Paris, and most cars aren't even in a lane. Cars aren't just like jumbled in there, and people are working their way across to exit, people are working their way across to enter. But it just, I don't know, it was chaos, but it worked. Paris is a mental place to drive, but I feel like New Zealand, we are awash with roundabouts in this country, but for the most part, they're all pretty simple roundabouts, apart from the friggin' jungles growing in the middle. They are all pretty simple roundabouts. Most of them are just a straight, simple 4-way roundabout. And like I say, you're either turning left, you're turning right, or you're going straight. And as a truckie, there is nothing more frustrating than approaching a roundabout and you weigh 50 odd ton, 18 speed gearbox, you're approaching a roundabout, there's a vehicle coming towards you, and this is especially frustrating if it's another truck. There's a vehicle coming towards you, he's got his right hand indicator on, or she, and you think, fuck, I'm going to have to stop. Come grinding to a complete stop, and then at the last second they go straight. Sometimes they'll indicate left, sometimes they wouldn't even do that. They'll just throw out the whole maneuver, the right hand indicator on, and then they'll go straight. And you're like, you've come to a complete stop for nothing. And that is intensely frustrating. I mean, It's frustrating in a car, let alone in like I say, a 50-ton truck with 18 manual gears. So just don't do it. Just don't do it. Just learn how to drive. If you're going to drive, learn how to do it properly. Hopefully this has been helpful.